AI is in the news, and not just news written by AI. OpenAI's ChatGPT and other similar options are opening up artificial intelligence to use by individuals, and not just big corporations or tech startups. It's definitely tempting to use a tool that can, for example, write your marketing content for you. But how does it actually do that? And what's going on inside the black box? Can you trust the resulting content if you don't know how it is produced? I've been working in computers for over 25 years and I've got a very good idea of how they function inside. When most people say that they don't know how computers work, or how a website works for that matter, I'm not surprised because most people aren't as much of a geek as I am. And also, most people just simply don't need to know. So when I read that we, meaning fellow geeks or tech journalists, say that we don't know how AI works, I was a bit confused. I thought, well, is it really that technical? Or is it just sufficiently complex to put off even the geekiest of geeks? I found an explanation and a lot of insights in Mo Gawdat's book, Scary Smart, and I must say I think it's a must read for anybody who's using AI or feeling like it might be on a path to take their job. So in this podcast, I'm going to be sharing my own interpretation of Mo's explanation. Just a quick note that this is a high-level simplification of how building AI works. The actual process is far more complicated, but that's why you're listening to this podcast and not sat in a classroom at Cambridge University studying AI. My first assumption about AI was thinking, well, isn't AI just a really big computer? And let's start off with the difference between the computers we use now and the AIs that we're being told about every day. To illustrate the difference, let's think about a simple maths problem that you can give to a computer and an AI. That problem is, how do you tell the difference between a number 3 and a number 8? For us, we learn as children that the shapes of these numbers are different, and the different shapes have different meanings. For a computer, the difference is not a shape, but it's code. Developers have written code that enables the computer to process the numbers, and this includes the bit that tells them what the difference between those numbers are. It allows them to tell the numbers apart. The code is so efficient at processing numbers that it can do this faster and more accurately than humans. That's why we all use computers. A computer does not understand the numbers the way we do. It's simply able to process the numbers in a way that matches our instructions and gives us the correct mathematical results. If we really want to know how a computer solves a calculation, we can look at the code and just follow the steps that it followed. AI is different. The code in an AI was not written by a human. The code in AI was written, by the AI itself. So how does an AI make itself? Well, a developer building an AI doesn't write the code. They start with an idea of what they want to achieve, they provide a known input, and they have an idea of the output that they are expecting. So let's think about how we would train an AI to tell the difference between a 3 and an 8. We could just give it the code that we know already works. That's very easy, but we could just use a computer. What if we wanted it to tell the difference in the same way a human can, by seeing the numbers and recognizing their different shapes? That would need some more advanced code that can analyze and then process those patterns. At this point, the developer could start coding, or they could use a software robot or a bot to do it for them. The developer builds 2 bots, a builder and a tester. The builder bot assembles the code, varying it slightly to provide different iterations. In this way, the builder bot can create millions of variations of the same code at the same time. Something humans would take months or even years to do. The tester bot then tests each iteration to see how well it performs against the desired task. It reports back to the builder bot what code worked and what code did not. The code that doesn't work is simply deleted, and the code that did work is kept and then built upon further. This process means that millions of variations can be built and tested, often in seconds as opposed to months or years. If the code isn't perfect the first time, that's not a problem. Like the proverbial infinite number of monkeys with typewriters eventually writing Shakespeare, builder bots will eventually build the code that works perfectly. So in our example, the bots would build and test code until it is able to successfully recognise the visual difference between a 3 and an 8 just from the images it is given. Now that sounds like it shouldn't work, but it does remarkably well. So now the AI has code that works, but exactly what that code is, well, the developer doesn't know. They could take a look and work through the code, and for our seeing the difference between a 3 and an 8 example, that wouldn't take too long. But if you scale that up, imagine the AI that we've created. It's read every book and 800 billion web pages. Working through that code could take lifetimes. So when we say we don't know how AI works, it's because we can't know. AI is so incredibly complicated that no human can ever understand how it works in detail. The companies building AI systems celebrate and take the credit when they work, and then they pass the blame to the black box when they don't. As Mo Gawdat says, we are heading into an era of civilization where these machines could be completely in charge of our lives. Aspects of our lives are already run by AI. Social media apps, for example, are run by machines that no one, not even their creators, truly understand. We are handing our fate over to the complete unknown. Now this might sound worrying when you think about using AI to create your marketing content, for example, but like any tool, you just need to know how to use it and understand its limitations. After all, the thing that sits in between generating the content and posting it is you, for now. It's an exciting time and a time of great change, and I find it fascinating and I enjoy reading all about it, from doomsday scenarios to fantastical ways that it'll solve all of humanity's problems. Personally, I sit somewhere in between these two extremes. You've been listening to the Reframing Marketing podcast with me, Simon Batchelor. If this episode has got you thinking, press follow so the next episode will automatically appear in your podcast app as soon as it's released. In my book, Reframing Marketing, I dive deeper into the podcast topics and offer a fresh perspective on marketing. It's a 3-step guide to practical and ethical marketing for coaches, consultants, and anyone who is marketing themselves and their work. You can order your signed copy directly from me at reframingmarketing.com. Until next time, happy marketing.